Tonight we are very proud to be hosting the launch of the Publishing Queen Reveals All book series. It's a series of 6 books to help would-be authors find their way through the veritable maze of the publishing industry. Kylie Legg, otherwise known as the Publishing Queen, has been in the industry for about 6 years, over 6 years, and she's had her own company, also called the Publishing Queen, for over 2 years. By our latest estimations, she's published over 100 books, so she knows the game inside and out. Please welcome Kylie Legg, the Publishing Queen.
Thanks very much, Leon, and thank you everyone for coming today. Today represents a lot of work over a period of 2 years, so I'm really excited you could all share it with me. I look around the room and, well, there's a range of you here. There's family, there's friends, there's business people, whether that be people that were a network associate of mine, whether that be people that are actually a client of mine, whether that be people that were involved in the book itself. Some people that are case studies in the books are actually here tonight in the room. Some people that gave testimonies on the back of the book are here tonight in the room. And then there's others of you that I went around and tried to say hi to before, but I've never necessarily met before. This book's, I'm so excited to have all of you here to launch the series because it's going to help each and every one of you. What I'd like to do though is share with you, whether you're here to support and celebrate or whether you're here because you're really excited about these books that literally are hot off the press, what I want to share with you is a bit of the story about how these books came to be. My first book, How to Publish a Book for Pleasure, Profit or Publicity, actually released early last year. What happened was about 2 years ago, I had a dream. And my dream was that I could see people everywhere wanting to publish books. But the problem was that they didn't necessarily know what they were doing. So people were either wasting time, wasting money, or filling garages up with books that they couldn't necessarily sell. What was missing was the education. So I released this first book as an overview of the whole process. For pleasure, profit, or publicity. Whether you want to do it for fun, whether you want to make money from it, or whether you want to gain credibility, be known as the expert in your field. With the launch of this book, the Publishing Queen, as Leon alluded to before, was actually born. Because how could I be teaching in a book how to gain credibility as the expert in your field and not become the expert in your field? So that was a natural evolution. This book very quickly turned into a seminar. And for those of you that heard about me early on last year, that seminar toured around most of New South Wales in various different spots, named after the book. But what I found at that seminar was that people had questions that, of course, an overview didn't answer. So book 2 came out. Book 2, How to Write a Book in Less Than 7 Days. The common problem I saw was people, well, you guys have to admit it, we naturally procrastinators. We want to write a book, we don't necessarily know how to write a book, we don't necessarily want to commit the time to writing a book, or we think that's too hard, or I couldn't do that, and we basically make up excuses. If you genuinely, honestly want to write a book, you can do it in 7 days. I actually wrote my first book in 7 days, which is what inspired me to write the second. There's actually a section in this book about a 2-year-old child who wrote a book in 1 day. Now granted, it wasn't as long as the books most of you guys are probably interested in writing, but if she can do it at 2, and you've had a lot more education and experience than her, a whole week for you guys isn't too much to ask. Now anyone who's bought this book on Reddit has written their book in less than 7 days. Anyone who bought it and put it on the shelf, well, it didn't work. What happened though was actually that book I turned into a boot camp, because I found that some people would read the book and not do what it said. They literally needed their book kicked out of them. So I started the boot camp, and yes, I went around and started kicking people's books out of them. That worked really well, but it actually moved me on to my third book. My third book, How to Bring Your Book to Life, was about what to do next. People were now successfully getting their books out of them, but they didn't understand the publishing process. They'd seen the overview, but they didn't know what specifically to do for their book. How to Bring Your Book to Life was actually based on the service I was offering at the time, and still do offer, which is creating customised publishing plans for people. Now, obviously my time is limited, so I can't create a personalised plan for absolutely everyone. But this book actually teaches you how to do it yourself. It goes through all 7 stages of the publishing process, and it tells you everything you need to know in order to write your own customised plan to make sure that you do all the right steps in the right order. As you can see, it's a lot thinner than the others. That's because the value in this is actually the content, not the length. You use this book, you write your plan, and it sets you smooth sailing for the rest of the process. Well, what happened after that is a year had already passed and we were now into 2010. And I had done a seminar, I had done a boot camp, I just released a 3rd book, and there was obviously some things in the publishing process that hadn't been covered. Well, what I actually did was I brought out some more seminars and I brought out some more boot camps to cover those areas because I wanted to test and try the content and make sure at these live events when people ask questions for something I may not have thought to cover, because I might have taken that step in the process for granted, could be included in the content before the next 3 books were done. The book that came next was based on last year's seminar. It's got a really long title, but it's invaluable to you. How to Make Money While You Sleep by Becoming a Published Author in Less Than 3 Months. After I taught people how to write a book in less than 7 days, they wanted to express the rest of the process. The process taught in this book can be done in 3 months. But if you want to know how to do it, the secrets are in this book. It's specifically to make a passive income, so it's specifically online. So for those of you out there who want to know how to make money online, this is the book for you. I loved this book. It took me all around Australia last year, touring with the seminar to get the content together for it, but I had a blast going to each capital city and sharing with people how to publish a book. The last 2 books I'll go to now. These are based on the next 2 boot camps I brought out. This book is not necessarily for everyone. This book is for people that want to design their book to stand out from the crowd, specifically if you want to do it yourself. So if you're one of those people that's dying to design your own book, this book will tell you everything you need to know. If you're one of those people that's paying someone else to design your book for you, but wants to make sure they do the right things from a marketing point of view, this book will tell you everything you need to know. If you're not too technical, leave the technical information in here to the people who are, but the rest of the information is invaluable. This book was shortly followed by the only step that was missing, which is kind of what we're doing here today. How to pitch your book to distributors. So you've written your book, you understand the whole process, it's planned out, you're making money online, you designed it yourself. What about bookstores? What about what we're doing here today? How do you get your book into bookstores? How do you make sure it sells once it's in the bookstores? And what do you do on an ongoing basis to keep this process happening? I like to refer to publishing a book kind of like having a baby. The reason I do that is, well, everyone's familiar with the publishing process. It's kind of like the gestation period. People are familiar with the birth. That's what you've got here tonight, the book launch. It's a really exciting time. But people miss the step after, which is the raising of the child. It can take a good 20 years to raise a child, can't it? Your book's the same. It will take off and get a life of its own, but you do need to commit some time to it over the next period of years. That's why I wrote this series of books, because I want to show each and every one of you interested in writing a book, whether that be for fun, whether that be to make money, whether that be to gain credibility, a combination of all 3, the quickest and easiest ways to do that. Because if you can be raising your child in 5 to 10 minutes a day, that's a lot easier than raising a human child. Once again, I want to thank all of you guys for coming here tonight. I've had a blast doing these books. I just want to share one thing with you. My mother's actually here tonight. And when I was very young, I remember her saying to me these words. She said, "You can do anything." I think 6 books in 2 years kind of proves that fact, but I want to say to you guys here tonight, so can you. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and I think Leon's got a few words he'd like to say to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kylie, for coming in and talking to us tonight. And congratulations on the production and the publishing of these books. We will be offering 10% off these books if they're bought as a series tonight. And Kylie will be happy to sign them here if you wanted to get some copies tonight. So thank you all for coming.